Welcome to the Conference Committee hearing today of the Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs Committee and our Senate counterparts on these measures. My name is David Tarnas. Here we are. It's Monday, April 24th, 1:30 p.m., conference room 325, for the purposes of hearing or considering three different measures, HB 710, HB 712, and HB 719. Chair Angus McKelvey, welcome.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having us.
I'm glad that you're here. If we can go ahead and get started on the first measure, HB 710, relating to government. This measure from the Commission to Improve Standards of Conduct provides that a person commits the offense of obstruction of justice if the person intentionally influences, obstructs, impedes, or endeavors to influence, obstruct, or impede the due administration of justice by means of force, threat of force, coercion, fraud, or deception. On this measure, on the House side, I am chair, and we have managers Representative Takayama and Souza.
Okay, thank you. On behalf of the Senate, myself as chair, co-chair, Senator Rhodes, co-chair, members Wakai and Favela, I believe all are present. No, Senator, oh, there he is. Yeah, we're all present.
Thank you. Chair, I had recommended a conference draft 1, which I had sent, maybe I may have give this copy to you, hard copy. If you could just pass that out, I appreciate it. This is, what I'm suggesting on this is that in the difference between the conference draft 1 and the Senate draft 2 is that we removed, did I get enough copies? Okay, what we did is that we removed the provision that made the obstruction Class C felony ineligible for a deferred acceptance of guilty plea or nolo contendere plea under Chapter 853. So this Class C felony would now be eligible for a deferred acceptance of guilty plea or nolo contendere plea under that chapter. This is consistent with the House position. My view is that I want to give the judges the discretion to decide what's best in each case based on the facts and their best judgment. The other part of the CD1 is that we made it effective upon approval. Mm-hmm. And for those who are wondering, you know, how does this relate to the other measures that we're passing out regarding fraud and corruption? In my view, HB 710 is not duplicative of any of the other fraud, corruption, or corruption bills, because in the Senate Bill 228, which we had previously passed out at conference committee, that dealt with the offenses of fraud and false statements, whereas HB 710 is about obstructing an investigation into fraud and or false statements. This could include things like witness intimidation through threats or harassment. So I believe this bill is complementary, not duplicative of the other measures that we've been considering and passing through. So that's my proposal. I'd be interested to listen.
We'll review it, I mean, for sure. But, you know, obviously we have a Class B for the subsection 1B over here because some of the things enumerated in there are much higher. You know, threat by means of force, threat of force, coercion, fraud, or deception. So, but what we'll do is let's review the CD1. And then maybe we can get back together here tomorrow at the same time in this room, and then hopefully we'll be able to come to an agreement on the CD1. But we hope you'll consider the Senate's position on the Class B for Section 1B as opposed to a C.
Thank you. We will certainly do that. Let me check on timing. Tomorrow. So 1:35 would work
that
for me.
Work. I think you only need me from here on out unless we're going to vote. So.
Okay, 1:35. So we will reconvene tomorrow, Wednesday. That's April 25th, 2023 at 1:35 p.m. here in room 325 for the purposes of considering HB 710.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the next measure, House Bill 712, relating to recordings of public meetings. This measure encourages boards to maintain recordings of board meetings on the board's website, regardless of whether the written minutes of the meeting have been posted, and requires boards to provide the state archives with a copy of any recording of a board meeting before removing the recording from the board's website, and requires written minutes of board meetings to include a link to the electronic audio or video recording if available online. On our side, I am the chair, and we have managers, Representative Takayama and Souza.
Okay, Senate, McKelvey Chair, Co-Chair Keokohole Elefante, and Manager Favela, and all are here but my counterpart, Chair Keokohole.
Thank you. On this measure, I'm okay with the Senate draft, and I wanted to check in with you about it because we have the effective date of October 1st,
Yes, we have a delayed
2023.
effective date to allow the different boards and commissions to ramp up into this new video recording requirement. So we see that as a clean date, so given that, we were hoping that you could vote to agree to the Senate Draft 1.
Okay, so I just wanted to hear from you what that explanation was. With that in mind, I'm inclined to agree to the Senate Draft 1. We could process an agree form for that, so unless you would like to.
Well, no, you can just vote to agree right now.
Let's vote to agree right now. Okay, this is House Bill 712, House Draft 1, Senate Draft 1. Recommendation of the House managers is to agree to the Senate amendments made to the House measure. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair?
Aye.
Representative Souza?
Aye.
Thank you. My recommendation is adopted, and so we have a bill.
All right, yay.
And you don't need to be signing this or anything.
Nope,
We're all
we're
set
just
on
simply
that.
here to watch.
Okay, let's move on to the next measure. House Bill 719. This measure imposes a cap on charges for the reproduction of certain government records. It waives the cost of duplication of government records provided to requesters in an electronic format, allows agencies to withhold certain deliberative documents before a decision is made, imposes a cap on charges for searching for, reviewing, and segregating records, and provides for a waiver of fees when the public interest is served by a records disclosure, also appropriates funds for positions in the Office of Information Practices. On the House side, we have co-chairs Tarnas and Nishimoto. Chair Nishimoto is not available at the moment, and managers Representative Takayama and Souza.
Okay, thank you. On behalf of the Senate, myself as chair, co-chairs are Keith Agaron and Rhodes, managers Aquino and Favela, and co-chair Keith Agaron is excused.
Thank you very much. On this measure, we were comfortable with the measure as we moved it out of the House in hopes that the Senate could work with that going forward. You know, it's a similar measure to what we had passed out last year, which was vetoed, but we have a new governor who's expressed an interest in this sort of thing and a support for it. So we wanted to try again. I see that you've made some significant changes to it, and I wanted to understand what the changes were and why you think they're a good idea.
Well, this is an evolving conversation in which we're still having conversations, and so I know the big issue seems to be the pre-decisional deliberative process. And so therefore, in talking to my co-chairs, what we're willing to do is go with the Senate position on defining what the public interest is, which is on section 3, page 10, lines 13, 11 to 15. We'll go ahead and basically waive the pre-decisional language that was put in by the last Senate committee. However, we feel inclined to ensure that if there's any unintended consequences, that it can be reviewed by future legislators. So we're suggesting a sunset to the entire act for 3 years. And a clean date.
Okay, I will need to review that since I don't have it in writing in front of me. That's a lot of things that I'd like to actually see.
Well, go ahead and discuss it with your counterparts, and then if it's something that the House feels comfortable with it, because I do believe it is moving towards a compromise, you can either go ahead and give us a CD1 electronically encompassing the discussions, and then we can come back maybe tomorrow.
Okay, could you go through it one more time?
Okay. One more time. What we're going to do is we'd like to propose that we basically take out the language in the last Senate draft regarding pre-decisional documents, deliberative process. We go ahead and keep in the Senate position on what exactly is the public interest, which is found on section 3, page 10, lines 13 to page 11, line 15, and that we go ahead when we sunset the entire act in 3 years. So we can ensure that future legislators can revisit it should there be issues that arise down the road.
I will definitely consider this with my other House members here and other interested members in the House. And then, based on what you've just said and what we have are comfortable with, then I'll come back to you with
Yeah.
the conference draft on that.
By all means, that'd be great.
Okay, so let us plan to reconvene on this in the same 1:35 PM agenda. So tomorrow on House Bill 719, we would reconvene at 1:35 PM, Wednesday, April 25th, 2023, in room 325.
Okay, sounds great. Look forward
Okay?
to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you
Okay,
very
thanks,
much.
Jeff.
There'd be
Appreciate it.
no further business before us today. We are adjourned.